I've got another grocery haul for you, and I'm getting started with the things that were not on my list. We had a conversation on one of my live shows a few weeks ago about how to save money at the grocery store, and one of the tips was leave the man at home and leave the kids at home. So today I had the man with me, so let me just show you the things that I did not have on my list. And I did have a list, and our plan was I was just going to pick up a few things and he was going to wait in the car, and then he decided, well, there was a couple of things he needed, so we were in the store together. So to start off with, one of the first things we picked up that was not on the list was this pack of ballpark franks. So he decided he wanted hot dogs, and here's the thing. Neither one of us had had lunch. Now, I had some cold cut sandwiches that I was going to give him once we got home, but he didn't know that. And when we were in the store, he said, you know what, I think I want hot dogs for lunch. So I thought, if the man wants hot dogs, let's get the man some hot dogs. So we got this pack of ballpark franks, and they're 16 counts. So I'm going to put some of these hot dogs in the freezer because there's no way in a month we can eat this many hot dogs. But as you can see, we have already had some hot dogs for lunch. So I'll be getting these in a vacuum sealer and getting some of them in the freezer, and some of them I'll have in a baggie in the fridge, and I'll show you how I vacuum seal them. The other thing I picked up that was not on the list was 2 boxes of facial tissue. Now, I typically buy facial tissue just about every time we go to the grocery store, and I thought, you know, we've only got 1 box left. So I'm trying to make sure I plan ahead. So I did pick up 2 boxes of facial tissue. I had intended to get a package of bathroom tissue, and I got distracted and forgot. So I'm not sure when I'm going to pick that up, but I will. Now, the other thing that we picked up that was not on the list was some Johnsonville turkey breakfast sausage. And he decided that, you know, maybe we got to cut back on pork. The last sausage we had was pretty salty, and it was. So we're going to go with some of this turkey sausage for a while. So we have 2 packages of Johnsonville turkey breakfast sausage, and it is fully cooked. And I'm looking forward to enjoying that. So breakfast sausage. 2 packs of gum, and this is the flavor that he likes. And I will usually pick up 1 or 2 packs for him when I'm there. I just didn't have it on the list this time, but I usually do pick that up. And then, of course, you get hot dogs. You got to get some hot dog buns. And I will admit, these hot dog buns were terrible. This is the Kroger brand, the Rich and Honey hot dog buns, and it was like every bite they were falling apart. They were absolutely terrible. But there you are. Those are the hot dog buns we had. And then he likes these cans of Bush's baked beans. So we got a can of the country style, 2 of those. And so we'll be having that sometime in the next week or so. And he loves okra. And then we've been using the air fryer lately. So he picked up 3 bags of the seasoned air fryer lightly breaded okra. So we've got 3 packs of that. And the air fryer works pretty good. We've been using it quite a bit lately, and we love it. Now, this was something that was not on the list, but I picked it up myself. And it is the Campbell's Chunky Savory Pot Roast Soup. They had the soup for $2.79, and I'm not sure if it was a sale or not. I think it was a sale, but sometimes in a pinch, we do need a can of soup, and we have been using the ones that we have. Now, granted, I do make soup quite a bit, but sometimes I'm not here, or in a pinch, I just need to open a can of soup. So I picked up 3 cans of the savory pot roast soup. And then also this hand of bananas, we picked up that, and that was not on the list. And let me get this okra and get it put in the freezer, because I don't want it to thaw out. So I'll be right back. So, okay, other things that were not on the list were snacks. And you guys know we gotta have our snacks. He likes to have snacks with his beer, or if he's having a Coke. So we got these bags of snacks. I don't know if they were having a 4 for something deal or not, because I didn't see that part. I just happened to look in the cart and he already had them in there. So we got 2 bags of the classic Lay's potato chips and a bag of the Sun Chips, and Sun Chips are really good. And then the Sun Chips whole grain. So Sun Chips whole grain, and this is the Sun Chips harvest cheddar. So 4 bags of snacks. And then he's been eating a lot of apples lately. So we've got some apples, and these are the Pink Lady apples, and then these are the Gala apples. I don't know anything about the price because I didn't put those items in the cart. And I did pick up a package of this Tennessee Pride sage country sausage. I got some at Thanksgiving time when I was making, I don't know, it was either for breakfast or dressing or something, and it was so good. So I picked up another pack of that. And again, it wasn't on the list, so that was my bad. And then they had cabbage for 99 cents a pound. And I picked up 1 head of cabbage for myself, and I also picked up one for a family member. I'm going to be making some food for a family member this weekend and taking it over. If you guys have been following me, you guys know that I've had a relative that's been in the hospital and she's home now. And so I'm making some things to take over there. So I do have some, I got some cabbage for that. And I will say the church did give me some funds to kind of help me with that. So I'm really excited about that. So this is one of the things that I picked up for her. And I got another head of cabbage somewhere because I decided, you know what? I should get a head of cabbage for us. So let me get these things off the counter and I'll come back with the stuff that I did have on the list. Oh, and there was one more thing that was not on the list, and that was this bowl of fruit, which he is already enjoying. I had some of this for lunch myself, and it's really good. But this is not something I would ever normally buy just because of the price. I think when you buy these bowls of fruit like this, they're typically more expensive. But I don't know. Tell me, what do you think? Do you think it's cost effective to buy a bowl of fruit such as this? Or are you better off buying it individually? As I'm looking at this, I certainly probably wouldn't buy all the different things that are in here, and it's a lovely fruit combination. So there's that. And then something else that was not on the list, but I picked this up, and Kroger's had chicken. They're having a sale on chicken right now. And so this sale is for the whole chickens. You get buy one, get one free. Now these chickens are, this one is 6 pounds. This one is almost 6 pounds. So this one was $10.85. This one was $10.36. So buy one, get one free. I paid $10.85 for this one, and I got this one free. Now that comes out to about $5.50 per chicken. That's pretty darn good because the last time I bought chicken, it was like $1.99 a pound. So this is pretty darn good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these chickens in half, and then I'm going to vacuum seal them, and I will put them in my freezer. And then my husband and I had the discussion as to whether or not it was better to buy the whole chicken and then cook it, or to get a rotisserie chicken that was already cooked. Well, speaking of rotisserie chickens, Kroger's has some that were on sale. This was reduced price for $4.29. Well, this rotisserie chicken is 2 pounds. And the other thing is that it is already cooked, so a lot of the juices and that kind of thing that I will be able to get out of this raw chicken when I cook it won't be present. So I'm going to just pop this in the freezer, and then one day I'll just, oh, you know what, I might even cut it in half too. But I'll pop it in the freezer, and then one day when I'm in a hurry, I can just get this rotisserie chicken out of the freezer or the fridge, and then we can have a meal that's ready to go. These rotisserie chickens are great to make chicken salad. You can have them for Sunday dinner and then use part of it with just the chicken and mashed potatoes and gravy, or chicken and rice and some kind of veggie. You can make chicken soup, chicken noodle casserole. There's all kind of things you can do. And There was another rotisserie chicken or roasted chicken. This one was $5.36, and it looks like it's more about 3, maybe 4 pounds. Just a little bigger than this one. So this one is $5.36, which is almost the same price as one of these would have been raw. But again, they're ready to go. They're nice and quick. So I certainly will have some pretty quick cooking meals, and I could even do a meal where I don't have to cook, where I tear the chicken apart and make some kind of a lovely chicken salad. So we'll see what I do with those. So let me get these things out of the way, and I'll show you the other things that I got. Now, in addition to the chicken, one of the things that was on the list that I needed to pick up was produce. And as I explained to my husband why we needed to make a grocery run today, was that fresh produce is, you use it up. So once you use it up, you gotta replace it. So I had onions, carrots, and celery. This is my mirepoix. This is my little triad of things that I need to have all the time to cook. And I'm going to use one of those chickens. I'm going to zhuzh it up and roast it with some onions, carrots, and celery. Maybe put some other seasonings on it. And I'm going to take that over to my cousin. So I needed these things not only for that, but also because we were out here at home. Green pepper, and I will admit I let one go bad. I had to throw one away. It was growing a new form of penicillin on it. So I had to pitch that one. So I picked up one. This was not on the list. So again, one of the things that was not on the list that we ended up with. However, these little mini Cokes were on the list. And these puppies were 2 for $10. They used to be 3 for $11. Today they were 2 for $10. So I just got the one pack. And I know one of the things that has to do with the pricing on some of the aluminum packaged products is the price of aluminum is going up. So that's the problem there. And the celery was like $1.89 for this. The carrots were like almost $5. Now granted, this is a 5-pound pack, so it was like $4.99. So I guess that's like $1 a pound. But still, I was like, yeesh. But I do use a lot of carrots, and these are some nice big ones too. And that's nice because then I don't have to cut or peel quite so many. And then one of the things that I plan to make, well, 2 of the things that I plan to make for my cousin, I'm going to make meatloaf, and I'm also going to make some chili, and I needed some ground beef for that. And they had ground beef, 3 pounds for $11, and that's a pretty good price for ground beef. It's about $3.35 a pound, so I picked up that. I also picked up a package of bacon because the chili recipe calls for bacon in that. And then of course, she's got a couple sons and they can enjoy bacon for breakfast. So I picked up that for them. So once I make the chili, I'll take the rest of the bacon to them. Didn't buy any eggs. The price of eggs was ridiculous, as you already know. And the last time I talked to my cousin and I asked her about, what do you think about the price of eggs? And this is when she was still in the hospital and was still kind of loopy with the different meds and things they were giving her. And they had just pulled the tube, but she was able to say ridiculous. And they still are. But I remembered that she doesn't really like to eat eggs a lot. And since she's not going to be doing any bacon anytime soon, I didn't buy eggs. But Kroger's had, I think they were like $6.49 a dozen. And then for the carton that has 18 eggs in it, $8.49. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I didn't buy any eggs for her, and I didn't buy any eggs for us. I did pick up some bread for us. This is the kind that I like, so I got that. Bread is also going up in price, and that has a lot to do with the grains that we do import from other places, as well as something to do with the wheat futures here and abroad. So that bread was not cheap. I'm probably going to start making some bread. I want to learn how to do sourdough. Miss Leona has a series about that. Picked up a bag of salad, and this bag of salad is for my cousin. I know they like to have lots of salad, so I picked up this for them. And then I picked up some potatoes. Now, you're wondering, well, why did I get 2? Well, one of these bags of potatoes is for us because we were out. But this other bag is for them. And so when I do the roast chicken, I'm either going to do baked potatoes with that, or I might make mashed potatoes. And then for another meal that I'm planning to make with them, it could be a chicken stew or something, I'm not sure, but we're going to have potatoes with that as well. So one for us and one for them. So let me get these off the counter and I'll be back. Now these things right here, some of them are going to be used at my cousin's house and some of them are going to be used here. So one of the things I did pick up was a jar of chicken gravy. And I know I am a quick one to make my own and to tell you guys to make your own. But I just thought I'd pick it up in a jar this time and take that over there. That way they can heat it up, they can pour it out and use it as they desire and put the lid back on it when they're done. I'm also going to open this can of Glory collard greens to send over there with one of those roasted chickens. And then one of the days they'll have corn as a veggie, one day there'll be green beans as a veggie. And then I needed the chili beans for the chili. So I like the Brooks mild chili beans for chili. I don't like it spicy, so I figured if they want it spicy, they can add extra spice, but mine's gonna be mild. And then a can of crushed tomatoes, and then a couple of cans of red gold diced tomatoes. One I'll use for them, one I'll keep here for us. And then I also needed some spices. So you know I've been making these, DIY spice mixes. And one of the ones needed some ground mustard. And I used all of my ground mustard with that one. And then one of the ones needed cumin. And I used all my cumin for when we were doing those. So I picked up a couple of cans of that. Now I prefer to get my spices in jars or bottles. But I didn't see the kind that I normally get, and I know McCormick and some others have been doing a changeover in their packaging, and the Kroger brand was most cost effective. So I went ahead and got these. Now if I've got my other bottles, if I save those, then I might transfer the spices out of here and put them in those jars or those bottles. We'll see, but right now I got this Kroger brand and they can go on the shelf as is. And then I made some chicken salad the other day. Oh my goodness, it was so good. And I wanted to make some turkey salad with some of the turkey that I had in the freezer. And I used the last of my craisins when I made the chicken salad. So I needed to pick up some more of those for us. And then we were out of napkins too. And I know napkins are probably something that I could do without. But I do like to buy paper napkins. I don't like to use paper towels at the table if I can avoid it. I prefer paper napkins, and I don't use the cloth napkins as much as we used to. Who knows? I may be getting those back out as these prices continue to go up on paper goods and everything else. The other two things that I got right here was a box of coffee. Now let me tell you what, this doggone Starbucks coffee, there are 10 K-Pods in it, was $9.99. $9.99 for this box of 10 K-Pods. That's $1 a pod. But I bought it. I'm gonna have to really think long and hard about how much I keep buying these little K-Cups, because I did pick up some of those things that let me show you, let me grab it. I think my husband thinks I've lost my mind pounding on the counter in here. He's in the other room with his headphones on doing something to be quiet. He's on mute while I'm doing this grocery haul, and he's like, what the heck? But I did pick up some of these little things. They're like disposable cups, and you can fill your own little coffee pods, and they fit into the K-Cup, the Keurig. I may start doing that, so we'll see. We'll just see. I haven't done it yet, and I do have the kind of coffee that I like. When I used to drink the drip coffee, I like the Maxwell House. I do have a container of that, so we just may have to see, because that's $1 a cup. That's $2. Well, what am I saying? $2 a day if I drink 2 cups, and if I stop in Starbucks itself, I'm spending $8 for a cup. So, go figure. All right, Denise, stop. And then the other thing I did pick up was this pack of large rectangular storage containers. They're just disposable. You can just kind of take them in back and forth. I'm running out of containers to put stuff in to take away from the house. So I got these large ones because they look like they're big enough that I could put like a roast chicken in it and something else. So I got a couple of these. And when I make the chili, I'll probably take it over there in my pot, but immediately transfer it to one of her large pots, because I've sent soup away in jars and pots and so many different things. I'm running out of stuff. So now there's that. So now the other thing I wanted to show you is this. And one of my subscribers had asked, how can you build a pantry with not much money? Like for $5. She said, can you show us how to build a pantry for $5 and just kind of put things aside, and each time you buy groceries we can see what you got. So I had to think, okay, so what would I start with? And I thought either I would start with some kind of a protein. So I picked up this 12-ounce can of tuna. Now this can of tuna was $1.99, or we'll say $2 at Kroger. You can get smaller cans for $1, like the 5-ounce cans are for $1. But I'm thinking if you're going to make a nice casserole or something to feed a family of at least 4 or 5, you're going to want a larger can. So this can is $2. And then I picked up a can of chili mild beans. So these beans were 89 cents. Now you could have got black beans or baked beans or other kinds, but since chili is something that I like to make frequently and on a budget, I would make chili as one of those meals. I picked up a can of chili beans. And then I picked up a can of crushed tomatoes. They're 89 cents. And then I picked up a can of petite diced tomatoes, and these are 89 cents. And these are all the Kroger brand. So for $5, this is what you could start with. So I'm going to set this aside and put it in like a little container, and then we'll see the next time I go to the grocery store what can we get. I probably could get a bag of rice, but I didn't need rice today, and so I didn't start there. Maybe the next time I go, well, we'll just see. We'll just see what I get the next time I go. So now I'll get this stuff off the counter, and then I'll get that chicken, and I'm going to vacuum seal it, and I'll vacuum seal those hot dogs. So let me move this, and you know the drill. I'll be right back. This video is brought to you by Aprondiva. Pretty and practical, we believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. Visit us at www.aprondiva.com. I like to portion everything out so it's easier to grab what I need for future meals. The hot dogs had to get packed into zip-top bags because I didn't have any vacuum sealer bags the correct size. And the whole chickens, well, I cut them in half before vacuum sealing. I do rinse my chicken before packaging, but the USDA does not recommend washing raw poultry due to the risk of cross-contamination. Instead, they suggest patting it dry with paper towels. If you choose to rinse, be sure to clean and sanitize your sink and countertops afterwards. And don't forget to label your bags. One trick I use when sealing meat is folding down the top of the vacuum seal bag before filling it. This little cuff keeps the edges clean so the bag seals properly without any chicken juices interfering. I do a lot of hand washing when I'm handling raw poultry. Here are a few of the meals that I'm making for my cousin, and I'm getting started with the classic meatloaf. Two pounds of ground beef go into a bowl. Followed by oatmeal, herbs, and spices. I mix everything by hand until well combined. Then press it into a loaf pan to shape it before I flip it onto a foil-lined baking dish. I don't bake my meatloaf in the loaf pan because it traps grease and prevents the sides from crisping up. Baking it in a baking dish allows for better air circulation and a more evenly browned meatloaf. It goes into the oven at 375 for about 40 minutes. While the meatloaf is baking, I start a big pot of chili. And the first thing I do is fry up some bacon and then toss in some red and yellow peppers and onion. Once I get that sauteed, I season everything really well. Then I brown the ground beef. Once the ground beef is browned, I add in a pound of ground pork. I'm using Pat Neely's ground beef and pork chili recipe, which includes a cup of Budweiser beer, red and black beans, crushed and diced tomatoes, and a blend of seasonings. I'll link the recipe in the description box below, just in case you want to check it out. The meatloaf is ready for its glaze, a mix of ketchup, barbecue sauce, brown sugar, and a few extra spices. This goes on top before it bakes for another 15 minutes. Now back to the chili. I let the chili simmer so the flavors can meld together. Then it's time to pull the meatloaf out of the oven and check its internal temperature. It's at 170 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's good to go. Everything gets packed up for my cousin, along with baked potatoes, rice, corn, and a bagged salad. I made those sides off camera, but they'll round out the meals nicely and give her family enough food for a couple of days. A few days later, I make another meal, Southern fried cabbage. I start by cooking some bacon in butter and then setting it off to drain. Then I handle the cabbage by cutting it in half and removing the core. Then I slice it and dice it and add it to the oil with some diced onion. A sprinkle or two of Miss Leona's house seasoning, some salt and pepper, and that brings it all together. Once it's tender, I transfer it to a casserole dish, making it easy to transport. This southern fried cabbage pairs perfectly with one of the rotisserie chickens I picked up earlier. On another day, I prepare a homemade chicken pot pie. I roll out a pre-made pie crust into my deep dish pie plate. Then I start on the filling. I begin with melted butter, adding carrots, onions, celery, and diced potatoes. A blend of seasonings go in. Followed by a quarter cup of flour to thicken the mixture. I give it a good stir to cook off the flour. Then I add in a cup and a half of milk, a half a cup of heavy cream, 1½ cups of homemade chicken broth, a half a cup of frozen peas, and 2 cups of cooked chicken. Filling is thickened, I pour it into the dish and then I put on the top crust. I crimp the edges and then poke a few holes in it to allow steam to escape. Then I brush it with an egg wash. Into the oven it goes at 375 for about 30 minutes. At that point, I cover the edges with foil to prevent over browning. And then I bake it for another 10 to 15 minutes. So here I have 2 beautiful chicken pot pies. You guys saw I had those rotisserie chickens and I used one of them to make these 2 beautiful chicken pot pies. They required 2 cups of chicken breast each, and I had just about that much with the chicken breast and then a little bit of the dark beet went in there as well. The other thing that I want to be sure to let you know is that these are the scraps that I got from making the 2 pot pies. I needed 2 big carrots, 4 stalks of celery, and then half to 3/4 of an onion. And so these are the peelings, the shavings that I saved, and they're going to go in the freezer, and I'll be making some chicken broth pretty soon. Now here's the other thing. When I wash those veggies to prep them for use, I give them a good scrub with this vegetable brush because I want to make sure that the vegetables are good and clean, and then the peelings are clean, or the shavings or the skins are clean when I peel them or scrape them to use for my chicken broth later. After cooling, the pie is packed up and ready to go. I hope this video gives you some inspiration for meal prepping, stocking your freezer, and making homemade meals for loved ones. If you enjoyed this, be sure to check out my video on how I made 8 meals from just 1 turkey. I'll link it in the description box and in the iCard above. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.